major diameter, measurement of major diameter. So major diameter for both external thread as well as internal thread. How to do the measurement? Which method of measurement should be used to check the major diameter of external thread? First we are going to discuss about the external thread. In that, major diameter means it is the highest diameter or maximum diameter for both external as well as internal thread. You can see here, if it is for the external thread, the major diameter, like I told in the last class, it is from crest to the crest of the thread if it is external thread. Suppose if it is internal thread, major diameter means it is from root to the root. The position may be the same from this point to this point, you can see the cursor, but here it is considered to be as the root in internal threads, root to root. You can see here I have bolded it, crest of the external thread or root of the internal thread, that is major diameter. It is also called nominal diameter. So this major diameter we are supposed to do the measurement now, right? We're going to discuss about that. The last class I told these things. The measurement of major diameter of external thread. This is the major diameter, the blue color one, what you're seeing, and this is the external thread, that is for the nuts. Sorry, for the bolts. If it is nut, it will become internal thread. We are discussing about the major diameter of external thread. External thread means for the bolt. This blue color one. How to measure this distance, major diameter. In the last class also I showed that one, thread micrometer. It is also a way of measuring the major diameter of the external threads, but it is not that much accurate, right? The most accurate one or the high precise one to measure the major diameter of the external threads is the floating carriage micrometer, or you can call it as bench micrometer, right? Bench micrometer. This is the instrument, bench micrometer. You can see this image. This floating carriage micrometer, it is represented in the diagram like this, bench micrometer, or it is also called floating carriage micrometer. See here, this will be the micrometer head. You can see this side, the right side image. This is the micrometer head. It is in the, a big cylinder is there. On this, there will be vernier scale will be there, right? You can observe here also, right? On the left side here, it is the fiducial indicator. All of you can see the screen, right? Fiducial indicator. Here you can see that yellow color one in the image. This is the fiducial indicator, right? There are two holding centers. You can see that one. These are the two holding centers. Here also in this instrument, these are the two holding centers. The purpose is to hold the component in between these two centers, holding centers. There are other two anvils are there here. You can see, observe here the cursor. This is measuring anvil. This is the another measuring anvil. One is with respect to micrometer head, another with respect to measuring fiducial indicator. Right? These are the clamp to hold the component in place. So this is about the bench micrometer, or you can call it as floating carriage micrometer. So actually this floating carriage micrometer, it is also an experiment in the M lab, right? This instrument is also there in the M lab to measure the different parameters of the screw thread. See, basically it is used to measure major diameter, minor diameter, as well as effective diameter. The last class I told effective diameter means pitch diameter, right? Major, minor, as well as effective diameter. Effective diameter means in between major and minor. That is effective diameter, or you can call it as pitch diameter of external screw threads. You can see here written in the sentence, of external screw threads using floating carriage micrometer. This is the external thread, major diameter. You can observe here the image, major diameter from this point to this point. to measure this diameter, major diameter on this floating carriage micrometer or bench micrometer. So this is what the floating carriage micrometer it look like. I hope all of you can see the screen, right? So this is what the floating carriage micrometer will look like. This is the micrometer head, right? This is the fiducial indicator, right? These are the two holding centers. You can observe here also the component is being held. And you can observe in this image also, these are the two centers for only for holding purpose. And these two are the measuring anvils. One with respect to this micrometer head, another with respect to this fiducial indicator. See, these are the different varieties, or you can call it as the types of floating carriage micrometer, right? Some colleges or some organization will have this type, some will have this one, and some sophisticated organization will going to have this type of fiducial indicator. See here, instead of the drum, all of you can see, right? Instead of the drum micrometer head, earlier what the drum is there here, you can see here in this slide, the drum, it is micrometer. Instead of this, they have used the digital micrometer here. Rather than taking the reading from the drum, a big drum, digital indicator, it will show the reading. The same procedure, only the little bit of changes. And in this case, here, this white dial, what you are seeing, this is what the fiducial indicator in this case. So these two are the centers, these are the measuring anvils. In this case, if you take the second image, this is a little bit different compared to the first one. But all the process or procedure will remain the same to measure the effective diameter or major or minor diameter of the given screw thread. Right? See here, this is the micrometer, right? Instead of this big drum micrometer, this is used. Here fiducial indicator, instead of like this white dial in like the dial, it is having only the a single double line will be there here. I will show in the video how it actually been used, right? A floating carriage micrometer to get the measurement, right? So here in this case, the fiducial indicator is yellow color here, right? A little bit of different compared to this, but all the functions remain the same. So this is about the floating carriage micrometer or bench micrometer. See this bench micrometer, so you can read here in the sentence what I have written in the slide. For getting the greater accuracy, this bench micrometer will be used to get more accuracy during the measurement of major, minor, or even the effective diameter, or you can call pitch diameter. This bench micrometer will be used rather than handheld micrometer, right? Rather than handheld micrometer, if you are using this, it will be giving more accurate values, right? So in this process, the variation in measuring pressure are being neglected, right? See here, if you take the example of this micrometer, handheld micrometer, which is shown here, why this is not more accurate compared to the bench micrometer? Because like I told in the last class, here the pressure what you are going to apply, it is manually. This is handheld micrometer. The person has to rotate this thimble because he has to feel that this anvil is touching the component, not more tight, not loose, right? That is, each individual person, they have their own perception to judge the whether the component is being fixed, whether it is loose fit, whether it is tight fit. That that depends on human senses, right? Because of this, sometime the application of the pressure, right? If you rotate this anvil, this spindle will exert the pressure onto this component, right? While applying this pressure, the pressure may subject it to deformation of the component. That means the more pressure may be there at one point, at the second another point, if the other person uses, he may apply a little bit of less pressure. So how to judge a correct pressure or a nominal pressure is being applied on the component to get accurate result? Even the component, even though the instrument is giving the exact result. But the application of pressure onto the component, how to judge whether the pressure applied onto the component is nominal. For that reason, in order to get accurate values, this bench micrometer is used. And in this bench micrometer, in order to make sure that the pressure is applied at nominal, they are going to use this fiducial indicator. What you are seeing here on the screen, this cursor, right? These fiducial indicator, here it is like this fiducial indicator, here it is like this fiducial indicator, right? These fiducial indicator, what you are seeing, the function of this indicator is to indicate that the pressure applied on the component is at the nominal, at the required pressure only, constant pressure. It is not varying from person to person. Irrespective of any person, they can use this bench micrometer to get the accurate value. Otherwise, some person will rotate the thimble at a very tight one. At some person, they may rotate the thimble at the loose one. So because of that, some variation may be there. So which will not allow to get the accurate values. In order to avoid that, this fiducial indicator, what you are seeing on the screen, this will be used. This is the indicator. It will indicate the application of the pressure. Right? That is the importance of the fiducial indicator. See here, I marked in the red color. The fiducial indicator is used to ensure that all the measurements are made at the same pressure, constant pressure. No variation, irrespective of any person uses the particular instrument, bench micrometer. See, the instrument has a micrometer head with a vernier scale. It can be like this drum or it can be digital micrometer, right? Which the accuracy of this, it is around 0.002 millimeter, right? Calibrated setting cylinder having the same diameter as major diameter of the thread to be measured, used as the setting standard. A standard cylinder will be used. Before keeping the component in between these two measuring anvils, standard cylinder will be used, right? That I will explain again in the next slide. So after setting the standard, the cylinder is held between the anvils and the reading is taken. See this diagram, you can observe, there is a fiducial indicator, you can observe here, this one. These two are the anvils. You can observe here this image, right? Here the micrometer head, the drum, what you are seeing here, the drum, it is this one, right? Micrometer head. So in between these two, they're going to set the component. So here video is there. I will play the video later once I explain the completely about this, how to take the reading. So later you can observe the video, you can able to understand how to take the measurement, how to use the instrument, bench micrometer, right? See here, this is the standard cylinder. What here it has been mentioning here, calibrated setting cylinder having the same diameter. The standard cylinder is this. These are the two measuring anvils. I hope all of you are getting understand, right? You can observe in this image also. These are the two centers only to hold the workpiece. These are the two anvils. This is the standard cylinder or standard workpiece that will be kept between these two measuring anvils. In this case, the measuring anvils are flat, right? All of you are understanding, right? The measuring anvils in this case in bench micrometer, because it is external thread, you can observe in the right side this image. See the cursor, external thread from this point to this point, the blue line. This you are supposed to measure. So for that, obviously the anvils, the face of the anvil should be flat, right? See the anvils here in this image, these are flat. It will just touches this surface, that is the blue line, major diameter from the crest to crest of this external thread, right? So before setting this is the component. Before setting this component, at the beginning, standard cylinder will be kept. Once the standard cylinder is being kept, they will take the reading. That reading is called as R1. You can see the formula at the down. R1 is equal to micrometer reading over setting gauge. This is the standard cylinder. standard gauge. Once it has been set, they will take the reading that is called R1, micrometer reading over setting gauge. Once it is been obtained, R1, they will remove the cylinder, they will place this workpiece, it is a screw thread, which they are supposed to do the measurement, the major diameter. See here, the measuring anvils are touching the crest of the thread to crest of the thread. You can observe here also, it is the major diameter. Now, using the micrometer, this drum, they will take the reading that is called R2, micrometer reading over thread. Over the thread means here, from this point to this point, from crest to the crest. Once they get these values, they will substitute into this formula, the major diameter. It need to be calculated, right? Direct value will never be obtained. It need to be measured. It need to be calculated by using this formula. Capital D, that is major diameter, is equal to S. S represent size of the setting gauge. That is the diameter of the standard cylinder. The standard cylinder, what you are observing, the size of this, that is the S. Plus or minus. See, in the while taking the reading, always it is not plus or minus. Suppose if the screw thread what you are using, the workpiece what you are using, if it is bigger than the standard cylinder, then this formula here become plus. If the screw thread, what the workpiece what you are using to measure the major diameter, if it is smaller than the standard cylinder, then it will become minus the formula, right? It is not plus or minus always. It is just the formula they are representing. Depending on the size of this workpiece with respect to standard cylinder, they will decide whether it is plus or whether it is minus. Then R1, R2 is the difference between the standard cylinder and the workpiece. So you're going to get finally the value, diameter of the major diameter of the given workpiece, given external screw thread. So that is how the bench micrometer will be used to measure the major diameter using this formula. D is equal to S plus or minus R1 minus R2. Plus or minus depends on the size of the workpiece, size of this screw thread, what you are observing, right? If it is smaller, it will become negative. If it is positive, depending on the size of the standard cylinder, they're going to decide whether it is plus or minus. Right? All of you understood, right? Measuring the major diameter using the floating carriage micrometer for the given screw thread. Till this, all of you understood? No doubt, right? Any doubts? No, right? If you any doubt in between, you can unmute yourself and you can able to ask the question, right? Because here I won't able to see the chats if you are posting any question, right? If you have doubt, you can unmute and you can ask any question in between, right? So this is about the major diameter. I hope all of you don't have any doubts. You understood, right? Using the floating carriage micrometer. See, next is the major diameter, measuring the major diameter of internal threads. You can observe this image, the right side, internal threads.
Sir, what is the application for this? Sir?
See, these things in the organization, in the industries, the screw threads, the inspection, right? The measurement of the screw thread. You simply can't make the component acceptable. How to judge that one, whether the component is acceptable? See, mute yourself all, right? See, in the organization, if you take this organization, because these are the component which the organization is going to fabricate. Once it is being fabricated, in order to make sure that whether the major diameter, minor diameter or effective diameter is within the specification limits as per the drawing given in the blueprint, how to measure that one, how to check it. They're going to use this measuring instrument. This is about how to use the measuring instruments to measure the different parameters of the given screw thread, right? There is application of it. That is how to use this particular measuring instrument. It is also possible to use the handheld micrometer to measure these diameters, but it is not accurate because the application of the pressure will differ from person to person. That's why in this case they're going to have the fiduciary indicator, which will indicate the application of the pressure, and this is the indicator which will make sure that the pressure application on the component is same all the time. The application of this is to do the measurement accurately as far as possible, right? That is the, because without inspection, without measurement, you can't judge the component whether it is accurate or not, whether it is having the good quality product or not, right? That is the one. See, coming to the major diameter of internal threads, you can observe the image over here on the right side. All of you can see internal thread. See, multiple times I'm going to use this images because each time you have to keep on understanding what is external, what is internal thread. Don't mind, right? The internal thread here, you can observe here. Internal thread is this. So the example of the internal thread is for nuts. And the major diameter, what you're discussing is major diameter of internal thread. Major diameter means still we are discussing about this blue line from this point to this point. See, minor diameter means for internal thread, it is from root to root. The position may be the same, but it is considered to be as root. For internal threads, major diameter is from this root. Whereas if it is the external thread, it is from crest to crest. Whereas in this one, internal thread, it is from this point to this point. It is called root, major diameter of internal thread. See here, major diameter of internal thread compared to external threads, this is most difficult one, right? The option, the function of doing the operation, it is most difficult one compared to the external threads, because you have to measure the threads inside, interior of the component. The nut, if the small nuts are there, if big nuts are there, you have to do the measurement inside. Always it is measured, it is easy to measure the outside surface of the component, exterior, external threads. If it is internal thread, it will be difficult. The most difficult job is to measure the internal thread. See, not to overcome that, the difficulty of measuring the internal threads, the interior of the nut, one of the way of measuring this internal thread is by having the casting, right? Casting approach. You can see the image here, right? These are the wooden blocks. You can see the side view of it. The wooden block will be like this. Assume this is the nut, right? The hatchet portion, what you're seeing, this is the nut. These are the screw threads, internal screw threads. And the blue line represents major diameter till this point, right? They will place the wooden block like this, and they will try to get the casting of this particular interior profile of the threads, right? Here, the accuracy of measuring the internal thread, major diameter of the internal thread, depends on how accurately the casting is being obtained. In order to get the casting, the profile of the interior of the internal threads of a net, say for example net, they will take the plaster of Paris, and they will fill the plaster of Paris inside the nut. Assume this is the nut, they will fill the plaster of Paris inside the nut. So these wooden blocks, what you're seeing, it acts as the wall. It will not allow the plaster of Paris to go out. And while filling the plaster of Paris inside the thread, they will not fill the plaster of Paris throughout the center of this thread, internal thread. It is being filled only lesser than the half of the internal thread, right? It is not completely half. If it is completely filled half, it will be difficult the casted part, the plaster of Paris part, to be removed from the internal thread. For that reason, that is the only reason, they will fill the plaster of Paris only to the lesser than the half of the internal threads. It will be allowed to cure. Once it is being cured, they will not rotate. Just they will slide it, and they will take out the part, the casted part, and by using the micrometer, there is the bench micrometer similar to the external thread like this. They will do the measurement, right? That is how the internal threads will be measured. There is the way in which the internal threads will be measured by taking the casting, and the accuracy depends on how perfectly the casting is being made from the plaster of Paris in the interior of the nut, right? This is the way, or this is the method which is mentioned in the textbook. Actually, there is one more way, it is there, but I won't discuss that. If I discuss that also, will get confused. As of now, what the textbook they have mentioned, I'm explaining the same thing over here, right? If anyone asks the doubt, then I will explain about that, right? As of now, if you understood, then it is good enough. Just assume they are going to prepare the casting by using plaster of Paris by pouring into the interior of the thread, internal thread. They will get the profile of it, and using the bench micrometer, they will do the measurement. So major diameter of internal thread will be calculated. Again, the same formula will be used for that to measure the external, that is the major diameter of the internal threads. I hope all of you understood, right? Major diameter of internal threads for nuts. This is the way in which they can measure it by using that formula. See, next we'll move on to the measurement of minor diameter. See, like this, similarly, I've explained in the previous one. I'll go back. You can observe here, right? Measurement of major diameter, external thread, internal thread. Similar to this, I'm explaining now. Measurement of minor diameter. I hope all of you can understand, right? Don't get confused. Measurement of minor diameter. Minor diameter means the inside one, the smallest diameter for both external thread as well as for internal thread. How to do the measurement of minor diameters. Till now, what we discuss is only major diameter. What we are discussing is now minor diameter. The same figure I am taking here. Minor diameter, you can see the external thread, minor diameter. Where it is minor diameter? Here, right? From this line, you can see the cursor. From this line to this line, it is minor diameter. For external threads, the minor diameter is considered to be as root. You can see that in the image, yellow color image, right? Root. This point, minor diameter. From this end to this end, it is root for external threads. You can see the sentence also. This is the diameter of imaginary cylinder coaxial with screw with which just touches root of external thread. You can see the image. Root of external thread, minor diameter. Or the crest of the internal thread. If you take the internal threads, you can see minor diameter, this line, you can see this line, what it is been represented, it is represented as crest, right? So no confusion, understood? So the crest of the internal thread. So this minor diameter, it is also called as root diameter or core diameter. Major diameter is also called as nominal diameter, whereas minor diameter is also called as core diameter or root diameter, other names. Right? Understood now? So we'll discuss one by one. External thread, how to measure minor diameter, and for internal thread, how to measure the minor diameter. The measurement of minor diameter of external threads. Here, measurement of minor diameter of external threads. The first one I am taking now for discussion. See here, in this case, minor diameter of external threads. You can see the image. This is external thread. Only see this image, external thread, the left one. Minor diameter means till this point. From this point to this point. See, in this case, from this point to this point, if you want to use the bench micrometer or the micrometer, is it possible that you can use only the flat heads like this? You can see that one. This is the flat anvils. Is it possible to measure the flat anvils? It is not possible, no. Even if you use the flat anvils, it will not touch the root of the thread. Are you getting point? It will not touch the root of the point. See, root means till this point. If you use only flat anvils, it touch only the crest. But this is minor diameter, external thread. You have to measure till the root. For that reason, this space has to be filled, right? This space, in order to fill it, they will going to use these type of V pieces. You can observe here the red color one. You assume this is the V shape metal pieces. They are going to use this. These are called the center V centers or V pieces, right? Two V pieces will be used. You're getting right? There is no confusion, right? V pieces will be used. So the minor diameter is measured by a comparative method by using floating carriage micrometer. The V pieces which make contact with the root of the thread. For that reason, to contact with the root of the thread, this is the root of the thread, external thread, minor diameter. To make the contact, they have to have some piece over here. That piece is the V pieces, like this. They are going to use. See, these are the measuring anvils. If you simply use these two measuring anvils, it will never come in contact with the root of the thread. In these places, you observe it, the cursor. In these places, these V pieces has to come in place, right? Are you getting my point? These two has to come in at these places. See, these V pieces are made in several sizes, having suitable radii at the edges. V pieces are made up of hardened steel material. The floating carriage diameter measuring machine is bench micrometer mounted on the carriage. This will be mounted. You observe now. All of you observe the screen. See now, this one V piece is being mounted onto this anvil, which is connected to the fiduciary indicator. You observe now. One more, it is attached to the anvil of the micrometer head. Like this, it will be mounted. The V pieces. All of you understanding, right? See, these V pieces will be mounted on this anvils of the bench micrometer to measure the minor diameter of external thread. Any doubt? Chetan, any doubt? Shall I continue? No doubt, right? See now, minor diameter of external threads. See now, these V or the prisms is now at the measuring anvils. These are the, this is fiducial indicator anvil, this is micrometer side anvil. These are just the centers. The cylinder is being placed, standard cylinder is being placed. It is similar to the major diameter what you have done the measurement earlier. First take the R1 reading, then R2 reading. At the first point, keep the standard cylinder. Now take the R1 reading from the micrometer. See, micrometer reading over standard cylinder. Now it has been replaced by screw thread for the minor diameter of the external thread. Now again measure the R2 value. So S is the diameter of the standard cylinder, this one. Now the formula to calculate the minor diameter of the external threads. D is equal to S plus or minus R1 minus R2, the difference between those two readings. This is the external thread. We are discussing still about this blue color line, minor diameter, the red color line, right? We're discussing about the minor diameter, the red color line. In order to make the anvils to contact the root of this external thread, they are using the prism, two prisms, red color one. You can observe it, right? V shapes. From that, you can take the reading and calculate it to get the diameter, minor diameter of the external threads. See again, the measurement of minor diameter of internal threads. This what we discuss is only for external threads. Don't get confused. measurement of external threads. The measurement of minor diameter for external threads that what we discussed by using the V-shaped prisms, right? Now internal threads, minor diameter of internal threads we're going to discuss. So minor diameter of internal threads. You can observe here, minor diameter is this one red color line of internal thread. Internal thread means for nut. There are two methods which can be used to measure the minor diameter of the internal threads. Those two methods are taper parallels, using taper parallels and using the rollers. These are the two methods of measuring the minor diameter of the internal threads. The measurement of minor diameter of internal threads. See here, the first method using taper parallels. You can observe here, there are taper parallels are there, right? These are the micrometer measuring anvils. This is internal thread. You have to assume that this is the internal thread, the nut, right? On one side of these taper parallels, nut will be there. Inside that, it has been inserted, taper parallels. Inside this, it has been inserted. At the other end, they are going to have the micrometer anvils, right? So as the name implies, it is a taper parallels, taper side. You can decrease the size or increase the size diameter by sliding the two parallels, and that size you can measure on the micrometer anvils. Suppose the size of this nut or the internal hole or internal thread, if it is less than 200 millimeter, all of you can see the screen, for diameters less than 200 millimeters, taper parallel, this method of measuring the minor diameter of internal thread will be used. It is very common. The taper parallels are pair of wedges. Wedge means one side is small, one side is big. Wedge shaped parallels, taper, right? The diameter across their outer edges can be changed by sliding them over each other. By making the sliding of these two parallels, you can able to change the size of it. Thereby you can able to measure the major diameter. You can able to measure the minor diameter of the internal threads. You can see this image, minor diameter. Minor diameter means till this point, the red color line. This image, these anvils, the surface of the anvil will come in contact with this point. This is called root now, because it is internal thread. It is root. From this point to this point, these taper parallels will come in contact, and the distance of it, the diameter, it can be measured by using the micrometer. So that is how you can able to do the measurement of minor diameter for internal threads. So no confusion, right? This is the one method. This method is used based on the size of the diameter. If it is less than 200 millimeter, the size of the hole nut, then they're going to use this taper parallels. Suppose if the size of this, the diameter of this more than 200 millimeter, they will use the second method, that is by using the rollers. You can see the image, try to understand it. They're using the rollers to measure the minor diameter. Still again minor diameter, you observe it, it is minor diameter. There is the red color line, this point from root to this, right, minor diameter. See here, this is the thread, internal thread. These two are the rollers. These are the slip gauges. Of this diameter for the hole or the screw thread, that is the nut, if it is more than 200 millimeter, this rollers will be used to do the measurement. Precision rollers are inserted inside the thread and proper slip gauge is inserted between the rollers. Along these rollers, they will use the slip gauges also. You can observe in the diagram. Rollers along with the slip gauge. The minor diameter is then the length of the slip gauge. There is formula, right? Minor diameter is then the length of the slip gauge plus twice the diameter of the roller. You can write the equation like this. Minor diameter, this minor diameter, the distance from this point to this point for internal thread using the two rollers is length of the slip gauge. So length of the slip gauge you'll get to know because on the slip gauge itself it is being mentioned. Apart from that, plus 2 times the diameter of the roller because two rollers are used. One is here, one is here. That's why 2 times diameter of the roller. The diameter of rollers also know. So finally you're going to get the minor diameter after doing the calculation. So this is the another method of calculating the minor diameter. If the size of the nut or the screw thread, internal screw thread is more than 200 millimeter. If it's less than that, they will use this taper parallels. You keep on noting the headings or those things, right? Don't sit idle. So till this, I hope you understood that. See this rollers, it will be like this. Now I hope some more understanding you can able to have from this image how to use the rollers. See, this is the major diameter. Assume this is the thread, right? The black color one or the brown color one, whatever you see. These are the two rollers. And this, the orange color one, whatever you're seeing is the slip gauge. So the length is can be measured based on this length of the slip gauge plus 2 times the diameter of the roller. You're going to get the size minor diameter of the internal threads. I hope all of you can understand, right? Measurement of screw thread angle. See, screw thread angle, in the terminology of the screw thread, I've explained that, right? You can observe in this image also thread angle here, screw thread angle, here flank angle. See, flank angle is half of the thread angle. See, thread angle means from one flank to the next flank, thread angle. If it is a V thread, this thread angle is equal to 60 degree. If it is Whitworth thread, the thread angle is equal to 55 degree, right? Flank angle means half of the thread angle. It is flank angle from the normal to the flank angle. See here in the bracket they are mentioned as flank angle, but in the heading it is mentioned as measurement of screw thread angle. See, usually screw thread angle will be measured like this only from one flank to one flank. This is flank. All of you can see this cursor from one flank to one flank thread angle. But if you take half of it, the normal line, if you draw from it, you're going to get the flank angle, right? For this measurement of this angle, they're going to use this particular instrument. This is called toolmaker microscope, optical measuring instrument, right? By optical projection, we're going to do the measurement of this angles of the screw thread. This experiment also there in the M lab. We're going to operate this toolmaker microscope through the eyepiece. If you see, you can able to see the screw thread like this on the screen, right? There is profile projector is also there. Again, toolmaker microscope also there. Optical projections. It will project the image, the shadow of that you can able to see on the screen like this. By using the screen mounted protractor like this, or by having the lines, the markings, you can able to do the measurement of the angles. the thread angles, right? See here, this is the protractor, like the normal protractor. Here it is having the protractor arm. Assume this is the thread, the shadow of the thread. What you are seeing on the screen, like this, the screw thread shadow will be there. On that shadow, they'll have this protractor arm. It will be set in such a way that all of you can see the red line, right? This red line represents that this protractor arm is perfectly aligned with the flank of the screw thread. Flank means, you can observe here in this image, this is the flank, right? This protractor arm perfectly aligned with this surface of the screw thread. Once it is being aligned, right? Once it is being aligned like this, they will take the reading, because it will going to denote the value of it, one side of it. Once it is been done, once the reading is being taken, this screw thread image will rotate at the right angle. Again, the another side of the flank of the screw thread, they will take the reading. The difference in that protractor values, what you're going to get, it will be the thread angle. And from the normal, you can consider it as the flank angle. Suppose if it is a V thread, the thread angle is 60 degree. If the thread angle is 60 degree, flank angle will be 30 degree, right? Flank angle is always half of the thread angle. If it is 60 degree, flank angle will become 30 degree. So that is how the angle, flank angle or thread angle can be measured on the toolmaker microscope. That is the optical projection. That is by having the optical projection, by using the shadows and the protractor, you can measure the angles on the screen very accurately, because it is optical projection. Wherever optical projection is there, magnification is more. Wherever magnification is more, the accuracy what you can expect will be higher. Lesser the chances of having the errors if you use the optical projections or optical instruments. And here in this case, it is the toolmaker microscope.